Some new Cybertruck images were recently shared, showing off the truck's air suspension, components under the front trunk enclosure, the best look at the front trunk of the Cybertruck that I've seen yet, plus confirmation of a dual motor version. I'm John, and this is Cleaner Watt. As I get started here, I once again want to say thank you to those of you who support me through Patreon. It really does make a big difference, and I really appreciate it. A special thank you to my ultimate supporter, Rebellionaire.com, my performance supporters, Jason Bishop, Cookie UK, Todd Morgan, Gort, Daniel D, and Edward Tam, and also thank you to my other supporters as well. The Cybertruck will be equipped with an air suspension system, which will provide several key benefits, including a smoother ride, load leveling, greater highway efficiency because the truck can be lowered when driving on the highway. It should also give the Cybertruck the ability to squat, so it makes it a little easier to load things into the back of the truck. And it should also lead to improved off-road capabilities. At Aiden Guajardo posted several images on X.com of Cybertrucks in a transportation lot, and these two images show the air suspension of the truck set at a high level. It appears like raising this Cybertruck up like this makes it easier to pull on and off the transport trailers, but nonetheless, this just shows how much the Cybertruck should be able to lift up, and it should be very beneficial once again when it comes to off-road scenarios. Now, the Hummer EV does have a feature called Extract Mode, and this allows you to raise the truck nearly 6 inches above the normal driving height when activated. Based on what I can see in these images, it appears like the Cybertruck should be able to at least match that capability. Beyond the truck's air suspension system, I also want to talk about the front trunk. The production Cybertruck will be a bit shorter than the original prototype in order to allow the truck to fit in a 20-foot garage. Due to this, the front trunk will be a bit smaller than anticipated in favor of keeping the over 6-foot bed and keeping plenty of cabin space. Ben, who goes by Old Spice on the Cybertruck Owners Club website, recently published what is the best image I've seen so far of the Cybertruck's front trunk, and while not extremely deep, it is quite wide and will still be a very usable and beneficial space, especially since Tesla went with an open front design similar to the F-150. When it comes to how the Cybertruck's front trunk size will compare to the electric truck competition, the Ford F-150 Lightning does have a very large 14.1 cubic foot front trunk, 11.3 cubic feet for the Hummer EV truck, and 11.1 cubic feet for the Rivian R1T. When it comes to estimating the cargo volume of the Cybertruck's front trunk based on this image, I believe it will have more cargo volume than the Model X, but of course less than the Rivian R1T, so I'm guessing that the number will actually be somewhere around 8 cubic feet of cargo volume once we actually get the number for the Cybertruck. So it should be quite usable, but it's not going to beat the competition. With that being said, I personally would rather have a little bit smaller front trunk and have a larger rear bed because that's a more usable space. And when you compare the expected size of the Cybertruck's rear bed to the competition, you can see that it should have an over 6-foot bed and it should beat out the Ford F-150 Lightning, the Rivian R1T, and the Hummer EV truck. In addition, it should have a larger bed than the Ford Raptor and the Ram TRX. In addition to that, an administrator on the Cybertruck Owners Club website recently shared several other images showing the Cybertruck's front trunk open, but missing its plastic liner, which gives some good views of some of the components under that liner. First of all, you can see in this image that this particular Cybertruck prototype is a dual motor variant. And this seems to line up very nicely and confirm something that @BeardedTesla shared on X.com back in July. But based on this image and based on @BeardedTesla's post, it seems very likely that Tesla will indeed begin with a dual motor version of the Cybertruck and that a tri-motor version will come later. This image also reveals the VIN number of this particular prototype, and the last 3 digits of that VIN number do line up with the number there, 602, that is taped on the side of the Cybertruck prototype. In this close-up shot, you can see the heat pump assembly, and to the left, there's a component labeled Super Manifold V2. When it comes to what the super manifold is, once again, it is part of the vehicle's heat pump, but according to this article from eMobility Engineering, which is about the Tesla Model Y's heat pump system, quote, mounted ahead of the SUV's front firewall, the core of the heat pump consists of two manifolds, one made of polymer for water glycol coolant, and the other, the super manifold, of aluminum alloy for R1234YF refrigerant, as well as a compressor, a chiller, where the heat is exchanged between the coolant and refrigerant, and the octovalve. If you look at the top of this image, this Cybertruck prototype does have cracked glass. Now, I know these vehicles are pretty heavily tested and they go through some pretty rough environments, and Tesla wants to test the capabilities of these trucks, so they often have damage like this. But with this cracked glass, it does bring up the question again, will the Cybertruck have Tesla's armor glass, or will it end up just having a more traditional auto glass, like an acoustic glass that's found in the Model Y, Model S, and X, etc.? I definitely recommend that you go over to the Monroe Live YouTube channel and watch Sandy and Jordan analyze these images. And I do want to highlight two things that were pointed out in that video. First of all, on the sides of the truck, you can see what looks like aluminum brackets. And in the Monroe Live YouTube video analyzing these images, Sandy, in response to seeing these brackets, said, quote, "I've never seen that before." Apparently, these brackets were not expected because the Cybertruck is supposed to have an exoskeleton. And Jordan added, in reference to these same brackets in that video, quote, "When Elon first came out and he said exoskeleton, everyone's mind says all this stuff goes away, but here we are." I've talked about this in the past, but based on images that we've seen of the underside frame of the Cybertruck, it does appear like the exoskeleton design has changed quite a bit, and it won't be maybe quite exactly as a lot of us imagined it would be, and maybe even as Tesla expected that it would be. I do, however, still believe that the vehicle's exterior skin, the stainless steel skin, will still be an exoskeleton of sorts and will still help carry some of the load. But we'll have to wait until the Monroe & Associates team does a teardown of the truck to really get a better idea of that. In that Monroe Live YouTube video, it was also pointed out, based on what can be seen here on the lower bumper of the Cybertruck, that this vehicle will very likely have a radar sensor. Moving to the exterior of the truck, you can see that the vehicle's doors look pretty roughed up. And it looks like Tesla has been doing some testing of those doors, whether that be with abrasives, with chemicals, with heat, I'm not sure, but those doors look pretty rough and they've been through quite a bit. In addition to those, two images of the Cybertruck's interior were also shared on the Cybertruck Owners Club website. And in this one here, you can see that the Cybertruck's front seats are perforated, so it should have ventilated seats. And in this image, you can see the octagon-shaped cup holders, which I believe are a cool style choice. This also shows a good view of the yoke steering with a physical depressible horn button, capacitance buttons, and stalks removed. There in the center console area, you can also see what looks like two wireless phone charging spots. With all that being said, first Cybertruck deliveries could be happening this month because, once again, this is something I shared previously, but near the end of last month, Tesla did add attending the Cybertruck delivery event to their referral program as something that you could redeem your credits towards. This coupled with a comment that Elon Musk made in Tesla's Q1 2023 conference call when he mentioned anticipating the Cybertruck delivery event probably in Q3 of this year, it sure makes it appear likely that a Cybertruck delivery event could be happening this month. Do let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. And also, once again, I'd like to say thank you to all of those of you who support me through Patreon. Your support makes a big difference and really does help make these videos possible. If you'd like to find out more about how you can support my work through Patreon, I will put a link in the video description. Thank you so much.